points south in eastern Kentucky, as well as basically along the Ohio River. You're going to start to see some sleet mixing in, which could cut down on some of those totals as well. And then down into portions of, let's say, the river cities. Once we go up toward the Ripley area, towards Sutton, all the way down to Beckley, you're looking at a good chance of seeing freezing rain, cutting down on those snow totals. In this yellow area, freezing rain and rain. But in these pink and yellow areas, we're looking at likely some significant icing, very treacherous travel, power outs, and the potential of just significant crippling impacts from this system. So these pink and yellow areas, really likely, I should say, going to be seeing those highest impacts because of the ice that we will be seeing, even though in the yellow area we will get some rain to melt this away. Could even be a little rain coming as far north as Huntington as well, and the heaviest snow again up into southern Ohio here. So latest European model, like we showed you yesterday, this is that new run that comes in every day at 2 p.m. Again, we continue to be all snow for the most part overnight, Saturday night into Sunday morning. I want you to notice down toward Pikeville, toward Prestonsburg, toward Salyer'sville, even toward Logan and Beckley, though. That's where we start to see that changeover from a snow to more of a sleet or a freezing rain here. Fast forwarding now to Sunday at 10 a.m., we get this nose of warm air coming up into much of the coal fields of eastern Kentucky and along Corridor G into West Virginia. So it looks like we could end up being at least a brief period of all rain during the mid-morning hours of Sunday, even going as far north as Sutton and Charleston. Look at southern Ohio, though. Again, this is all snow. Very, very heavy snowfall rates coming down here, 1 to 1.5 inches an hour in this general area. And that's going to be pretty treacherous travel. Meanwhile, in the pink here, the West Virginia Turnpike, I-77 and I-64. This is an ice storm that we're talking about. Beckley all the way into Charlottesville, Roanoke. I think travel is going to be impossible east of Charleston, down into the mountains, and down into parts of Virginia because of a major ice storm. We continue to see icing again back toward Lexington, toward Moorhead, toward, let's say, Grayson, even into near the Huntington area, towards Sarita Canova and Ashland. And then look how quickly we change you back over to snow by Sunday night. And that's another burst of heavy snow moving into the Huntington area and the Ashland area, the Ironton area, places like that. So again, this is what we're expecting. Dylan and I kind of collaborated on this, put this together this morning. We're looking at a good chance of 12 to 18 inches Cincinnati to Athens. That would include Chillicothe, Ohio as well, northern Pike County, Ohio. We're looking at 8 to 12 for places like, I should say, Portsmouth, places like Jackson, Ohio, toward the Pomeroy area as well, where you start to see that icing working in 6 to 8 for Huntington, toward Ripley, let's say toward Milton, toward Barbersville, Point Pleasant, Gallipolis, places like that. And where the rain is expected to kind of work its way on in, less than that. You're talking probably 4 to 8 or 3 to 6 for Corridor G and around that general road, the coal fields of eastern Kentucky as well. So really dynamic forecast, really depends on where you are, Kimberly, with this event coming through. But that is where we're at right now as far as what we're expecting with this snow and the snow accumulation that we could be expecting as we head into the weekend.
Nicholas, I want to ask you, when you're looking at this storm in particular, there's so many different moving parts. The timing has really changed. What are you most concerned about? And what would you tell people at home who say, hey, we've got to alter our plans this weekend. You really need to double think about traveling.
Yeah, travel is probably the biggest concern, especially 64 east of Charleston into Virginia, 77 south of Charleston down into Virginia and North Carolina. We're not going to be seeing the largest iced impacts in our area, but in Virginia, even into North Carolina, that is going to be a crippling ice storm. And it's rare that you'll hear me say that. I don't like to get superlative with the weather. I like to just kind of tell you what it is going to be as it is. But that is going to be a significant to crippling ice storm down I-77 toward Beckley, toward Bluefield, Roanoke, Charlottesville, even down toward as far south as Charlotte, perhaps. I don't think it's going to get quite as far south as Charlotte, but parts of North Carolina, a lot of Virginia going to be seeing a crippling ice storm. And if you do have travel plans, it's not going to be a good idea. I just really recommend not going. And even up into Ohio, where you're talking about snow,
Right.
Northern Ohio, they can handle the snow where I'm from, up in Cleveland. 12 to 18 inches of snow is not something you typically see in parts of Vinton County and parts of Athens County, even toward Chillicothe and Cincinnati. They're just not used to it down there. So they may not have the crews or the manpower to clear the roads as well as they could, let's say, up in a northeast Ohio or a northwest Ohio where they're used to seeing snow like that. So if you're traveling even up into Ohio, you're talking about dangerous impacts there with very treacherous road conditions. And along I-64 back toward Lexington, if we do get that icing, it's even going to be slick there. Not as crippling as certainly what we're going to be seeing in southern West Virginia, Virginia, and North Carolina, but still not great travel conditions from Huntington to Lexington along I-64. And I think it all starts Saturday evening. So really the window to not travel is between 4 p.m. on Saturday, lasting pretty much all the way into Monday or Tuesday of next week. The road crews should be able to have a little bit of help on Wednesday. Those temperatures are going to get above freezing, so that's definitely going to help. But
Yeah, certainly a help.
yeah,
for
until
sure.
Wednesday, really, we're going to be below freezing, and that's not going to really help those road crews out there. So
Yeah, I think that's maybe one of the hardest parts is we know that there are obviously some people who have to go to work, who maybe work at a hospital or someplace where you can't call out.
Right.
But I think, it's important to note that if you do have a job, maybe you don't go to church Sunday when those roads are especially bad. We even saw some counties this morning, I think, with that ice. It was just so odd. I think a lot of us were talking about it in our morning meeting today. Like, hey, this winter weather has just been already messy, but it's only going to get worse as we start to see, the next coming days.
Yeah, and by the way, too, another big concern is power outs.
Yeah.
With this ice storm potential, especially in the coal fields of eastern Kentucky and the coal fields of West Virginia. Power outages, they're an inconvenience on a normal day, but with how cold it's going to be getting on Monday night to Tuesday, widespread negative actual air temperatures for lows, wind chills in the negative teens, that is going to be a very dangerous situation if you have power outs for an extended period of time. You are going to have to find a way to generate some heat in your house because that is going to cause some major concerns for you if you have a power outage and you're dealing with those very cold temperatures. If you're not heated up, you could have some hypothermia concerns. You could have some frostbite concerns in temperatures that cold. So that's another thing I'm very concerned about with this system. And it's definitely a possibility with, again, significant ice accumulation. Some of the models have a 1/4 inch of ice in Charleston. 1/4 inch of ice is an ice storm. That's what the National Weather Service is defining it as. And that can bring power down. That could bring trees down, things like that. So it's not looking that great, to say the least, with this system, Kimberly.
Yeah, I think, we've already heard from Appalachian Power, Kentucky Power, AEP Ohio, and then actually at 3:30 this afternoon, we're going to talk with the Kentucky Electric Cooperatives who we were actually supposed to talk a little bit earlier, their spokesperson and I, but he said, you know what, we're going to meet with our crews at 3, and then we're going to start to really shell out our game plan. And they're obviously concerned about those power outages. I'm glad that you mentioned, you are going to need a place to stay warm, get out of the thing. And I want to go ahead and pull up. And while we're talking, Nicholas, I'm going to try and work on go ahead and getting that warming shelters because we've started to see that information be posted on social media. Of course, we also have a list of them on our website. And so I'm going to work to pull that up. But Nicholas, I think, would you kind of go ahead and kind of rehash the most important thing, talk a little bit more about those snow totals for people, and I'm going to work on getting that pulled up for them.
Right, and a good point you may have, Kimberly, too. It may be a good idea to just leave for a warming shelter Friday night or even on Saturday morning when the weather's not quite as bad. Remember, the snow isn't expected to start until after 4 p.m. on Saturday, so if you do have time to get to a warming shelter, Saturday morning or Friday night, that is going to be the time to do it because if you wait this storm out in your house and you lose power, you may not be able to leave your house because you could either be snowed in, there could be too much ice. Remember, those temperatures are not going to get above freezing after Sunday until Wednesday. So whatever snow and ice we have on the ground, unless crews are able to reach you, is going to stay on the ground for an extended period of time. And even on Wednesday, we're only 35 degrees. So 35 degrees is still not that much above freezing, and it's going to take a while to melt even 6 to 8 inches of snow or 3 to 6 inches of snow. And of course, in southern Ohio, 12 to 18 inches of snow. But where those power outages are most likely, in that zone of 6 to 8 or 3 to 6, down into the coal fields of eastern Kentucky, parts of the I-64 corridor, West Virginia, Corridor G in West Virginia, may be a good idea, again, to leave for a warming shelter, just stay there for a few days, and then you might be able to head on back home once we head into Wednesday, because that'll come in handy for sure, a lot better compared to, of course, the interesting weather, to say the least, that we are going to be having, and conditions that you don't want to chance for sure as we head into the weekend.
Yeah, Nicholas, I was luckily enough able to find that, warming shelter station. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up so we can see it. And this is a resource that I'm going to share on all of our social media platforms as well. This is one in particular for Kentucky. You can see it's that map there. This is a list that's put together through the state. So there may be additional shelters, and of course we're working on putting one of those together for you. We're going to talk a little bit about at 3:30, if you'll join us again, about the resources that we have available for people in our area. So you can tell the Salvation Army Emergency Shelter will be open. This list will be updated frequently, and it's one that I usually check when we are doing our storm coverage, because it's really nice, and it gets updated pretty frequently. So we're able to give you the latest information this way, and I think that's something to keep in mind, right? This storm is massive when we're talking about it, and just the magnitude of it. And I think give our team some grace you guys have a really tough job, and we're all relying on Nicholas and the team here, and they do a fantastic job of keeping us updated. Really, if you have not downloaded the WSAZ weather app, that's a great resource. You guys are pushing out updates constantly, that just, hey, we've got the latest data. You and I talked yesterday. Hey, we got brand new data. Let's bring it to people.
We had that today as well. So the same deal. And by the way, with our weather app, we can send out targeted push notifications. We can draw a little area on the map. And if your house is in that area, your phone, or at least your phone is in that area, your phone will get that alert, and only your phone will get that alert, and we can just send you a direct message. Hey, if you're getting this message, you're going to be seeing crippling ice in the next few hours. Now is the time to prepare. Things like that. That really comes in handy more so during severe weather situations, flash flooding, tornadoes, things like that. But it certainly can come in handy in a winter storm. Like I said, we could have a band of snow producing 1 to 2 inches per hour in that band of snow on Saturday night. And we can literally draw an area on the map, send out that targeted push, and say, hey, right now there's a band of snow causing 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates. Now is not the time to be out on the roads on your area. Or, hey, there's very heavy freezing rain falling here. Maybe a good idea to avoid this area for now. So that's a really great tool that we have. Also, keep in mind, too, social medias. Me, Dylan, Tony, Emily, we're constantly updating our social medias, and the latest data will be on all of our Facebook page and on the WSAZ Facebook page as well.
Yeah, I think, like we said, we're going to talk resources just in a little bit this afternoon. And Nicholas, we certainly appreciate you taking some time out of your busy afternoon. I know you guys got a lot on your plate right now, just trying to track it, and the data really just keeps changing, which I think is maybe even the trickiest part about this. We just don't exactly know. So, Nicholas, thank you so much for joining us here on WSAZ Plus to give us an update. We certainly appreciate all of you joining us. Like Nicholas mentioned, join and download that WSAZ weather app. It is really important. I'm going to admit, I even took our meteorologist's advice. My husband and I were supposed to go out of town this weekend, and we said, you know what? We looked at the forecast, and we're like, you know what? It's a bummer that we can't go, but we're going to be rather safe here than if we were traveling on the road. So, I feel for anybody else who has weekend plans that maybe you were hoping to get something done. And, anybody who has to go out and work in that, make sure that you're checking on your neighbors, anybody who is elderly. And even if hey, maybe somebody needs a little help. Maybe they're out of power a couple houses down and you're not. So, I think that's always a good reminder. Just be considerate. I saw a couple people posted that on social media last night as they were saying, hey, the stores are really crazy. If you are out and about, be considerate, be kind to everybody. We're all just trying to make the best of it as we head out. We know it's now 48 hours away. It's quickly approaching. It's hard to believe that it's Thursday already. Felt like we were just talking about this earlier this week. So, as you are, trying to plan your weekend, you heard Nicholas and the team mention here, you're going to need to alter those plans. Just go ahead, scrap them for what you were doing. Maybe make it a weekend at home. Have some snow fun. Pull out those board games. It's all something that we like to do. It kind of reminds of us makes me think of when we were kids, right? We all looked forward to some snow days. So maybe we change our perspective, and that'll certainly be a little bit better. So I certainly appreciate you joining me here on the WSAZ Now desk. And we will be back in just about an hour or so with an update from power companies as they are preparing. They've got a tall task ahead of them as well. And so we will bring their latest information for you and what we could see in about an hour or so. Thanks for joining me.